Hi there, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. You're about to watch a video live stream event that we held in August of 2020 with key players in the online MBA space. But before it starts, I just wanted to let you know that we have an incredible resource of information and analysis on online MBA programs, from rankings to profiles of individual schools to how much they cost to whether they require GMATs or GREs, and a wealth of other information to help you make a really good and smart decision about which program to pursue. If you want to avail yourself of all those resources, go to poetsandquants.com. In the nav bar, you'll see a little tab for online MBAs. Go there, or you can go direct to online/MBA/hub backspace at poetsandquants.com. We're looking forward to seeing you. Enjoy the video.
Hello, my name is Nathan Allen, and I'm a staff writer at Poets and Quants. Thank you for coming to join this next panel on our virtual online MBA admissions event. We've got 4 just really fantastic schools here, some that have been around for a while, some that have launched their online programs more recently. So I'm really excited about the differences that we have here and diversity in programs that we do have. So do a quick introduction of the panelists that we have here, and then we'll get into it. So from the University of Massachusetts, the Eisenberg School of Management, we have Tracy Hess, who is the Associate Dean of Graduate and Professional Programs. Welcome, Tracy. From the Jack Welch Management Institute, we have Megan Rogers, who is the Chief Marketing Officer. And then from the William and Mary Mason School, we have Kevin Holmes, who is the Director of Admissions and Enrollment Management. And from the University of Denver, we have Kenny Metcalf, who is the Assistant Director of Enrollment Management and Academic Advising. Welcome, everyone. How are you all doing today?
Great. Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for asking.
Very well. Thanks for having us.
Good, good. So let's start with the basics then. There are a lot of online MBA programs on the market. So the question is, when did you all first come online, and what are some things that differentiate your program just from a structural point and how students kind of go through the program? Tracy, we'll start with you. And the University of Massachusetts, it's one of the programs that I really like, mainly because of the price point of it. It's one of the least expensive ones on the market right now.
Great. We're also one of the older ones on the market. The Eisenberg Online MBA was started in 2001, and we have over 1,400 students enrolled today. Going back to your questions, what I think differentiates our program from other programs really reflects on the personal touch that our advisors give to the program, our flexibility in our program structure, whether you're someone who is trying to advance in your career and you have a full-time career and are seeking 1 or 2 classes per semester, or whether you're someone who hopes to complete the program more quickly. Our program's set up to accommodate that, and our advisors are available to help students determine what's the best path forward for them, the best fit for their individual needs.
Right, and I know you all are 100% online, but you have some options for students to meet on some of your campuses. How does that work?
So we do have some, say, hybrid programs that we call it, where students have the opportunity in the area, within the region to, say, attend 5 classes on site, and then the rest are delivered online. And we also are able to synchronously broadcast those sessions. In addition, a feature of our program, even though it's mostly online, is that our faculty that teach in our on-campus program are the same faculty that teach in our online program. So there's a lot of coordinated efforts there. Even our affiliated experts from industry that help teach some of our curriculum, they also tend to teach across both the on-campus and the online program.
Great, thanks. And Megan, Jack Welch, I believe, is one of the newer programs that we have here on the panel, but correct me if I'm wrong there. And it's also one of the biggest, I believe, with nearly 2,000 students enrolled.
Correct. Well, you're right on one account. Yes, we
Okay.
are currently at 2,000 students and 2,000 alumni, but we've actually been around for over 10 years. So we were actually one of the earlier embracers of the online format. And in fact, we never had an on-ground program. So from the get-go, we embraced that structure, for our curriculum and our students. So,
and can you tell us about, synchronous versus asynchronous?
Yeah.
How's your program set up? What does that stuff even mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. People don't know what asynchronous means, but I think it's emblematic of everybody on this panel. 10 years ago when we started, there wasn't as many options for MBAs, people wanting to get their MBA. And now there's pretty much every type of hybrid format out there. But, specifically, we've always been dedicated to serving working adults who are interested in going back to get their degree. And so everything that we do is really designed around that service format. And one of those is really our asynchronous structure. So really what that means is there is no live component to the program in terms of the academic requirements. You don't have to log into class at a certain time. But you do have, in terms of the way that the program is structured, there are certain, gates and that you have to hit every single week on Wednesdays and Sundays. But, again, for a working professional, online is great. But if there's still, for many, even if there's a requirement to log in at 7, on a Thursday night, they're still not going to be able to do that. And so, that's really the way that our program is structured. But we do have opportunities, at least 2 to 3 times every week across our broader curriculum with live sessions that are supplemental to the curriculum. So, within your own class, you're working with the other 19 individuals who are enrolled. We do keep our class sizes relatively small, but you do have the opportunity to interact with other people at different points in the program, as well as in other subject areas in these supplemental live sessions that happen every single week.
Great, thanks. Kevin, we'll move to you next at William and Mary. In some of my reporting, I believe that, if I remember this correctly, that the online MBA was not only the first online degree at the Mason School, but the entire William and Mary College. Is that correct? And then when did you all come online?
That is absolutely correct. Coming from an institution with 327 years of history, you'd be surprised our online MBA program is only 5 years old. We're actually celebrating our 5-year anniversary this coming fall, where we started with a cohort of about 30 students. In that 5-year time span, the program has grown to over 400 students. We've graduated over 280 alums from our program as well. And I would say students select William and Mary's online MBA because of the fact that the program is a general MBA, but it's founded in design thinking. And we believe that as principal business leaders, and to become more agile in the marketplace, there has to be a concept where creativity meets possibility as it relates to solving complex problems within particular industries. But yeah, 5-year birthday coming this fall.
Happy birthday. What a time to be celebrating the birthday too during the current climate. Thanks, Kevin, for that. Yeah. Kenny, how about at Denver? When did you all come online, and what's kind of the basic structure of the program there?
Yeah, we're relatively new. We are in year 3 of the program. We had our first intake of students back in January of 2018. We are on the quarter system, so we have 4 intakes per year. So yeah, we're in year 3. We have about 375 active students. So we have grown fairly quickly, which is exciting. And we had our first group of alums graduate this past fall 2019. And so we're really excited about that. We're currently at about 67 alums, and I'm expecting another 28 or so this summer, so this month. So we'll be right around 100 alums, which is exciting, getting them involved on that front. I would say in terms of program differentiators, a couple of things I would mention. We do have required in-person, what we call immersions, and these are on-ground, in-person events that cover a weekend in which students come together, they meet each other, they network, they really ramp up the relationship building component that we think is really important in an MBA program. 2 of those are required in order to graduate, and students have really relished the opportunity to get to know each other in an in-person setting. I'd also mention, in terms of our curriculum, we have a very interactive and engaging learning environment. We do have required live sessions for our classes. Each class has a 90-minute live session each week, and these are in the evenings to accommodate working professionals, which our program certainly caters to. But these are opportunities for students to come together and talk about the asynchronous work they did leading up to the live session, interact with each other, share ideas and perspectives. Of course, the instructor is present to moderate those discussions, and we like that approach and think it really enriches the learning environment. And then the other thing I would mention is our goal is to make students indispensable to their organizations. So we really try to deliver a curriculum that has real world and real time applicability. And so students are learning the asynchronous content during the week, talking about in live sessions, and then we hope that the very next day in their place of employment in their organization, they're able to apply what they've learned. And we call it a challenge-driven education, but it's about real time and real world applicability.
Great, thank you. So what our readers, a lot of our readers are really interested in is the class profile, the class makeup. They want to know, who their potential new classmates could be, how do they fit into it. So Megan, we'll start with you on this one at Jack Welch. What does the latest incoming class profiles look like in terms of where they're coming from, who they are, professionally, where are they, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of our strongest offerings at JWMI is the diversity of our population. So within the 2,000 students that we currently have enrolled, you have a wide age range everywhere from late 20s to late 60s, which really brings a lot of rich discussion into the classroom, based on people's industry expertise. We're actually one of the more female-oriented programs as well. About 53% of our incoming class is female. And we're also very international. So we matriculate from 47 different states and 67 different countries. About 20% of our current population lives and resides outside the United States. So, all of that, combined with, just the diversity and the experience that folks are bringing into the classroom, people from every single industry, every single company, from FedEx, McDonald's, Medtronic, all the big ones, to folks who are entrepreneurs, starting their own businesses, and doing it everywhere in the world. So it really does create that unique point of view within the classroom.
Great, thanks. And Kevin, about William and Mary, you mentioned the massive growth that you all have had. What are the class profiles looking like these days for you all?
Our students generally bring in about 8.5 years of work experience, coming from a wide variety of industries. I would say the top 5 industries represented amongst our student body would be financial services, IT, healthcare, media and entertainment, as well as the nonprofit sector. And so, as many of my colleagues on the panel have mentioned, a lot of your learning will take place within the classroom, not necessarily between faculty member and student, but between peer to peer, colleague to colleague. And so our students are really attracted to our program because of the high level of student engagement that you may not consider to exist within an online environment, but our students have a great affinity for the Mason School of Business, the overall campus. We have a 1 credit hour residency requirement that's part of the curriculum, where students can come to Williamsburg for a weekend and take part in a course around a particular theme or topic in business. But overall, we have a extremely diverse student body and diversity in terms of gender. 46% of our students are women, about 37% of our students are people of color. And so we really enjoy seeing applications from all over the world. William & Mary has a global alumni network, and we have a strong reach. And so our fall class is really shaping up nicely as well, because it has been fairly competitive for this environment.
Yeah, great, thanks. Kenny, what about at Denver? How are the class profiles looking like there?
Yeah, our average age is 36. We have a wide range, as you might expect, mid-20s to 50s and 60s. About 43% are female, which we're really happy about. 13% of our students bring in a previously earned master's degree. Average GPA from undergrad is just over a 3.0. Average numbers of years of work experience is about 11, and similar to other panelists, wide variety of industries. We have a lot of engineers in the program, which we love. They bring a unique perspective. People from financial services, healthcare, military, aerospace, all kinds of different places. About 2/3 of our students do come from Colorado, and we are trying to expand our footprint. We have students from about 27 different states right now. And we are primarily domestic population at this point, not many international students at all.
Great, thank you. And Tracy, Massachusetts.
Yes. So yeah, similar to some of the other profiles we've heard from, we have 11 years average work experience. The vast majority of our students are seeking to advance their career through the program. Although we do have a good number also of career switchers. Average age is 34, but we have a wide range around that. We also have a good number of women in our program, around 37, 38%. What's interesting about our program and kind of the industry makeup is that we have around 35% of our students are in the medical profession. And that, is probably born out of our home location in Massachusetts with a strong medical presence. We also have, though, we well represent operations, supply chain, retail, entrepreneurs, and people that are just trying to start up a new career without much of a prior background. So we have such a wide range, but the different industry backgrounds really make our program special in that respect. And that there's quite a bit of networking that goes on among our students and the very active discussions that take place in each of our courses. So that network comes into play because of that wide range of industry experience.
Great, thanks. And then going beyond the numbers in terms of, background and undergraduate GPA and that sort of stuff, how do candidates assess how they fit into your program? What are some things you all are looking for in terms of personal, professional characteristics, kind of more cultural things that you all are looking for to fit into your program? Kevin, I'll start with you at William and Mary.
Oh, well, first and foremost, we're looking for candidates that are intellectually curious, candidates that want to apply their learnings and apply theory to practice within their day-to-day and their respective organizations and communities. Candidates that also want to solve extremely complex problems that may not be attainable within your first try. We have a faculty member on staff that states that our students have to be in a constant state of beta testing, a perpetual state of beta testing in order to develop the best product, the best operational system, the best practices for growing your business. And so for us, we want students that really want to roll their sleeves up and tackle extreme problems in society and leverage all of their learnings in our program within their day-to-day.
Great, thanks. Kenny, how about at Denver? What sort of culture are you all trying to build through your incoming classes, and how do you assess that fit?
I mentioned a little while ago the interactive learning environment. So we're definitely looking for students who are interested in that kind of environment, having the opportunity to attend live sessions each week and share ideas and share perspectives with their classmates and peers and the instructors. So that's a big part of what we do and who we are. In terms of some of the characteristics and criteria, we're looking for people who are interested in impactful leadership and who are on some kind of growth trajectory, showing an increased level of duties and responsibilities as they move along in their career. Students who have tangible professional achievements that they can speak to. We are also looking for students who are interested in corporate social responsibility, ethics, and values-based leadership. Those are really the bedrock principles of the Daniels College of Business. So students who are interested in those things and for whom those ideas and philosophies resonate, we think they'd be a good fit for the program. And then finally, I would say emotional intelligence is a really big part of what we look for. Folks who understand what's going on around them, their impact on others, their impact on their community, their neighborhood, not just their organization, but sort of a bigger picture. Those are the kinds of things that we look for.
Great, thank you. Tracy, what about at Massachusetts? What's a good fit for you all?
Well, it's interesting when I was thinking about this question. So we have such a diverse background of students that on one hand, we would say that, we're not looking for a specific look, feel, or fit, that we're interested in applicants who are driven, interested in improving themselves, that have goals and aspirations, and that are eager to engage us to help them get there. So again, given our diversity of background, we don't have one particular thing that we're looking for in a candidate, and we do consider their entire portfolio, what they have to offer to our program, and their motivation to succeed. We have several focus areas in our program, and they range from entrepreneurship, analytics, healthcare administration, and so forth. So that enables us to serve a wide range of interests, and we have a strong offering of electives to fit the needs of the student.
Great. And Megan, what about at Jack Welch?
I mean, similarly to Tracy at UMASS, I mean, our population is so diverse. We're not looking for one particular, demographic over the other. So I would say, where we're really different is more on the psychographic element. Our program is, I believe it's the only one that was actually built by a CEO, Jack Welch, from the ground up. So Jack's name is not just, on the building as a donor. He actually built the entire program based off of his 50+ years of business experience at GE, and then after that, consulting with companies all over the world. So from that perspective, he built the program for people who really want to win in business and really have an affinity for leadership. And I know leadership is such a big, amorphous term, but, we're really focused on people who I would say kind of find themselves in two different spots. Either maybe they were really good in their particular functional area, finance, marketing, et cetera, and now have gotten to the point in their career where, in order to make this the next step, they need what we call the power skills, not soft skills, but executive presence, communication, understanding how to hire and fire, understanding really how to manage change. So really, I think we teach skills that are a little bit different, in addition to sort of core business acumen, but it's really that leadership mindset. We like to say we teach from the CEO mindset, and while we understand not everybody aspires to be in the C-suite, there is a huge benefit to really understanding how to run a company and understanding what, leadership and management is really looking for. So again, for us, while we don't really call it a concentration, everything that we teach and our program is really built around, is really for people, whether or not they're current leaders or aspiring leaders, but really ultimately, have a strong desire to really build great teams and help their organizations win by instilling, like I said, that CEO mindset.
Great, thank you. Thanks, everyone. So for this next question, Kenny, we'll get you first on it. So, one of the things that I think is a little bit different for the online MBA population versus the full-time residential MBA is they're further along in their careers, but also further along in their lives. So they've got potentially more responsibilities at home with, additional family members, children, spouses, all that stuff. And so I think one of the big hesitancies is balancing work, life, and then school on top of all of that. So Kenny, how do you advise students who might be hesitant about this aspect of balancing, juggling all these things?
Yeah, flexibility was mentioned a little while ago, and we certainly embrace that philosophy and that approach. Our students have we're not a cohorted program, so students can go at their own pace. They can take 2 classes a quarter if they like, or 1. They can take 2 in one quarter and 1 in the next. It really depends on how things are going for them and what other obligations they have going on. So we do have the ability, students have the ability rather to alter their pace at any time. We have a dedicated student success advisor for each of our students who can help that student with registration concerns, or if the student is getting overextended, let's take a step back and maybe scale back your pace at this current time. We also have a leave of absence policy. So if students do need to stop out of the program for a temporary period of time, they can go forward with that process. And so we do try to make sure students don't get overextended, make sure they have the right balance. Our courses are rigorous. They usually require about 8 to 10 hours a week per class, plus a live session. So we are very aware and making sure students understand that time commitment.
Great. Tracy, what about at UMASS? What are some things that you help whenever you're talking to students, potential applicants about this?
Right, so I think what we have to offer is a lot of flexibility in our curriculum. So it's deliberately more of a flat structure, meaning that we don't have a series of prerequisites that lock students into specific steps. So they have the flexibility to take, say, 1 class a semester or several a semester. We offer classes fall, spring, summer, and even in a short winter session. So we have a lot of different offerings. And our advisors really work with each student to help them to determine the best course for them and based on their lifestyle. And consistently in feedback that we get from our students, they talk about how their advisor really sat down with them and talked about the best path forward for them and their specific needs and their lifestyle. And so that is one way we definitely address the need for flexibility, given that a lot of our students are already immersed in a career and are just trying to move their way up a little more.
Great, thanks. And Megan, what about at Jack Welch? What are some things that you all suggest to your potential students?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously program format. Like others, we have multiple intakes per year. We're very flexible with allowing students to pace. So most students will also take 1 to 2 courses. There's no academic or financial penalty if they have to sit out. Obviously, we are 100% online, and we chatted a little bit about the asynchronous format, which really allows people to, complete their coursework on their own schedule within our stated gates and guidelines. But I would say probably the biggest thing that we do is we understand the population, obviously, that we're serving. And what really helps us, I think, be the most flexible is our faculty and the way that we hire and train and sort of view the role of the faculty member as, more of a coach and a mentor. Obviously, they're all academically qualified, so they'll have PhDs, but they're also bringing, real world business experience into the classroom. But we really want our faculty to have that service-minded approach. So we don't really see, it's really a one-to-one relationship between the student and the faculty member, not sort of the old traditional model where, faculty's kind of up here telling students what to do and, you're just kind of sitting back and lecturing. And so a great example of that is, there's no set office hours. So our faculty really know, again, how to create those one-on-one relationships, which is somewhat easy to do. Our student to faculty ratio is 19 to 1 in a class. So we're not shoving a lot of people into big online virtual classrooms. And then we really give the faculty the flexibility to work with the student in the way that they need. So again, in sort of the old school world, faculty member would have office hours on a Wednesday, in a given time. Our faculty members are more than willing and understand that, they're on calls, video meetings, written feedback, really try to work with the students the way that they want to be worked with. So some students don't want a live call. They're happy to take everything via email versus other students, find themselves in a finance class and they really need to get that one-on-one attention. So we don't really try to mandate how our faculty work with students, but we give them that, you know, broader platform. And again, just given the fact that we serve a global population and we serve working adults, you know, all of our operations are structured that way. So, you know, our offices are open to support students 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And then obviously really relying on our faculty, which, not to plug, but was ranked #1 by Poets and Quants across all categories in the online MBA program for the past 2 years. So they really are, you know, I think a key differentiator in the student experience and helping us achieve flexibility.
Great, thanks. Plugging anything about Poets and Quants is fine on a Poets and Quants webinar. It's all good.
Sorry.
Kevin, as the director of admissions at the Mason School, is this something that comes up very frequently? And if so, how do you all approach this conversation?
Absolutely. Our program was designed for working professionals. And so you can graduate in as soon as 24 months. You can extend that out to 36 months if necessary. And really, I tell candidates all the time that life will happen. As a working professional, life will happen. You will have to take care of an ill loved one. You may have a new addition to your family. You may have to, you know, your children are your pets. You know, things happen, and you have to manage and balance competing priorities. And from our standpoint, we're here to act and serve as a resource for our students. Every student that's submitted to our program is assigned to a student success coordinator. So if alternate program plans do need to take effect, you simply raise your hand and let us know sooner rather than later, so that we can sit down and put our minds together to figure out how to serve the students and the necessary need that they have at that time. And so our program is an asynchronous program. So when students are entering, you're dedicated, you're telling yourself you're going to dedicate at least 15 to 20 hours a week towards your academic pursuits, with the understanding that you will have competing priorities. Our schedule is designed in a manner where you're taking one subject at a time every 7.5 weeks. We too also have 3 intakes a year, fall, spring, as well as a summer intake as far as new cohorts. And the way our program is structured, it's based on a wheeled approach. And so within your first year of our program, you have a menu of courses that you can take within your first year experience, and then a menu of courses that you can take within your second year of experience. But, you know, William & Mary has been known for the level of faculty engagement that we provide our students, not only within the Mason School, but across the university. And so from faculty, staff, and alums, students have the full support of the Raymond A. Mason School of Business in terms of ensuring that they have success in our program. Great, thanks.
And so this next question is going to kind of piggyback off of that one. And Tracy, I'll let you answer this one first. So say the applicants, you know, they know that your programs are flexible. They know that you all have all of these built-in things to help, but there's still conversations they need to have with their employers, with their family members. What are some things that they should consider when going about those conversations?
So as far as how they decide, right, on the online MBA program that's right for them, well, we think looking at these rankings, right, is that are provided by Poets and Quants and other organizations are one thing to definitely look at, right? You know, rankings across different facets of the program, the longevity of the program, the stability, the offerings, whether what they're looking for in an online program as far as curriculum goes is provided by the institution. I think flexibility again, and charting that path forward to degree completion is a big part of it. Whether the student is interested in focus areas and additional certificates that give them industry specific information. That's another facet I would consider. And then looking at, you know, some of the social media discussions, trying to talk with people that have been in the program, trying to determine whether their experience matches up with what you're looking for.
And what about when they are getting ready to, you know, take this on in terms of conversations they need to be having with their employers and their family members and their personal network? What are some things they should be thinking about there?
think it's to understand what time commitment, what time they have available to commit towards the program, being reasonable about the time they have available with their employers, talking about how the employer values this additional education, what support they will give to them as they pursue this degree, both financially and time-wise. One of the things that we try to do in our program is offer different payment plans timing-wise, so that if you're getting reimbursed by your employer, there's time for that payment to come through. We actually actively cultivate partnerships with employers, which makes it easier for groups of employees to move together into a program and experience the process together, have a network of support there.
Great, thanks. And Megan, we'll go to you next. What are some things that you think people might not be thinking about, but need to be thinking about whenever they're having these conversations with their personal networks and employers before starting a program?
So I think on the personal side, the point was made, but if you're married or you have other significant others, it is really a significant time commitment to get a degree. Online does not mean there's a lack of rigor, and I think sometimes people think, well, it's just going to be so much easier online, and that's not the case. Our program requires 10 to 15 hours, so I think really understanding what that commitment is, and then on the flip side, what are you going to get out of it? So we always encourage people to do their research on sort of the graduate outcomes and results. I know if I was having the conversation with my significant other and trying to say, here's why I'm doing this, at the end of the day, it's really to make more money and, see an advancement in your career. So, from that perspective, 71% of our students are getting raises and promotions while they're enrolled. And, because they're also working while they're going back to school, it's a relatively quick payback period for the investment. So it takes about 2 years to pay off the MBA when they see those salary increases. And we're seeing about a 30% 10-year return. So kind of understanding those metrics and, kind of putting the financial value that you're going to get from the degree. And then I would also, obviously you want to have that conversation with your employer as well. I think Tracy, highlighted some really important things, perhaps opportunities for them, to fund the program if they don't offer tuition assistance. But, again, we've all said it, one of the biggest benefits about going to school and working is if you're going to the right program, you should be able to take what you're learning in the classroom and put it right back into your company. We call it, learn today, apply tomorrow. So, if I'm, if somebody on my team came and said, yeah, I want to go get my MBA, I would think it would be great because, they're getting upskilled and I'm getting the benefit of that, as an employer, and in particular to our company, our school as well. We are really for career professionals. So we are not, we don't really serve career switchers, although that obviously does happen. But we really want, people to be able to give back the value to their companies. And that's why we partner with hundreds of companies to offer special tuition pricing. So, yeah, I would say it's really the time commitment and then translating that commitment into both the personal value that you're going to see on a family basis or an income basis, understanding the debt that's associated with it, how quickly you're going to pay it off. And then from the employer, all the great things that you're going to be able to do as a result of the degree and how you're going to help your company also grow.
Great, thanks. Great points. Kevin, how about you? Anything to add to that?
Well, I certainly second everything my colleagues have said today. It is a network decision. If you have a family, it is a family decision. Though all of our programs have kind of similar time commitments, that 10 to 20 hour a week commitment that you need to make, is it reasonable to put all of your work off until the weekend? If that is the case, then your family may be upset with you if you have academic pursuits to endure every single weekend. And so these are the conversations that you have to have now, because it truly is a joint decision. From an employer standpoint, as it relates to funding, you should certainly give yourself ample amount of time to understand your organization's tuition assistance process, knowing whether or not they have tuition remission, where they will pay as a third party to your university, versus tuition reimbursement, when you have to pay yourself and then get reimbursed for the credits that you've taken in a given semester. Are there any academic constraints around that as well? And so these are questions that you have to have and give yourself ample amount of time prior to you even applying, to just ensure that you have the necessary support that you're going to need. Because not only do you have to have a support structure in place, but you're going to also have to have some passion as well, some passion to learn, some passion to really get a gainful return on your investment. And it's within that passion that's going to help you have a breakthrough versus a breakdown. But you don't know what skills and tools that you have at your disposal unless you have those conversations with your support network or your counsel, if you will.
Great, thanks. Kenny, these have been some very thorough answers, and this is part of the problem of going last, but we'll get you first on one of these next ones. Anything else you want to add?
I think my colleagues covered it really well. I would just add two quick things. The time commitment, of course, for us, we do have a unique structure with the live sessions and the immersions. It's really, really important to make sure that we are communicating to our prospective students that you indeed do have these required live sessions on a weekly basis. 2 of the immersions are required in order to graduate. So you might be traveling to campus here in Denver for an immersion, or you might be going somewhere else in the continental United States. We also have international immersions as options. So just making sure that students really understand the structure of the program and what kind of commitment they're facing. And then the other part is, and I mentioned this a little while ago, just students need to know that they'll be supported in an MBA program. We have the student success support, myself as the academic advisor. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make their experience the best it can be. And again, if that means they need to stop out for a period of time to focus on other things, we have that flexibility. But they have a robust support network and that white glove service, if you will. And we want students to know that coming in.
Great, thanks. Megan, this next one, we'll let you lead off with this one. But one of the big things about the full-time MBA program is your network. And I believe it was Kevin who mentioned this early on in the webinar and the panel, that your classmates tend to be some of the most helpful, and you learn so much from your classmates. But also there's connections with professors that are important. What does Jack Welch do to help foster connections with peers, classmates, and with professors while students are in the online program?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's probably the thing one thing that people are most skeptical about in an online program is the ability to create that network,
Right.
Which is so important. It's why I got my MBA. And, I think things have come a long way. And so a couple things that we do specifically from the Jack Welch MBA program perspective. I mentioned it before, but first, your first, network experience, if you will, really comes, within the classroom. So as I mentioned, we purposely keep the class sizes very small at 19-1 so that students can interact with one another as well as with their faculty member anytime they want. And so, from that perspective, and it's relatively unique. Our program is really discussion based. It's almost like a Reddit thread, if you will. And so I don't know about my fellow panelists, but, I went to a traditional MBA program and sat in a classroom of 90 people and, maybe spoke once a class. In our program, you're really getting interaction constantly because it's part of the academic requirements. You have to not only, make your own academic contribution, but you actually have to reply and respond and interact. That's how the grading works in the program. So that's kind of jumping in from day one. So, by the time you finish your program, you'll have been, sitting after those 10 classes, with 200 folks, going through almost, 19-1. You create pretty quick bonds. And then it's all the supplemental. So we have a very active student and the alumni advisory board that have really helped us address some of the connectivity issues and networking issues. So we have a proprietary platform called JWMI Connect, which is our own virtual networking group. So just like other schools, you can join investment clubs, you can join the sales and marketing group. You have access to all of these live sessions. And those are attended. Our program is 2,000 people. We have hundreds of people signing up for these. So you're getting a huge amount of exposure. And then something we're also really proud of, although a little difficult to talk about this year, is our on-ground networking. So as I mentioned, we're in 67 different countries. We do global day of networking events, and I think we're up to 45 local chapters. So there is that opportunity to be on ground, when we want to. But we really try to listen to our students and see what they need and kind of balance, really balance, from that perspective. But not to plug our rankings again, but since you said I could.
Plug away.
We were ranked, by our own students and alumni, #1 in terms of the ability to create good connections with faculty, and #4 in ability to create connections with fellow students, as well as the level of satisfaction with their network. So we really let our students kind of lead the way to help us figure out what the best experiences are from them, and try to balance it by both the classroom design and then the extracurriculars.
Great, thanks. And for those who might be watching later and don't know, the annual online MBA rankings that we do each year is the biggest portion of that is the alumni survey. So whenever she says that, she's referring to how the recent alumni have rated them. So Kevin, at William and Mary, how do you all approach building this network, giving students the opportunity to build the network with their peers, classmates, and professors?
Well, it's something that's vitally important to our program. We have faculty members that have stated that our online students in some cases are more engaging than some of the students in the face-to-face programs. And I think really because they have to be. You can't just sit and be an observer within our curriculum. As Megan mentioned before, you have to be actively engaged. And that's engaging through your discussions and group work within the program, engaging in terms of asking questions and meeting with your faculty members during some of those virtual office hours, being engaged in terms of taking advantage of some of the affinity opportunities that you have to establish that connection to the university. As an enrolled student in our program, you become a member of our alumni association from the moment that you enroll. And so as a member of that alumni association, you have access to a wide variety of professional and career development opportunities. Our students can also reach out to our Graduate Career Management Center as it relates to how to transition or change careers, or how to explore, startup concepts. Our environment is really a tight-knit community. As part of the tribe, there's this network of scholars that want to see you succeed, but it's really up to the student to raise their hand and be proactive in taking advantage of all of those opportunities that do exist. But we encourage our students to, when they become alums, to become actively involved in our alumni association. We have a MBA alumni weekend that we have every year that our online students and online graduates participate in as well. We are also developing an advisory board within the Mason School of Business for our online programs. And so that will be another contact and point of contact for engagement as well. But it's something that's highly encouraged, but it's just a matter of, asking questions and getting involved in your course content and speaking with your student success coordinators and working with our staff members to gain whatever insight or knowledge that you need in order to be successful.
Great, thanks. Kenny, how about it at Denver?
I mentioned a couple times the immersions we have, and of course the live sessions. Those are first and foremost terrific ways for our students to develop a network and get to know each other and build those relationships. I would just add that in terms of class size, our classes are no larger than 20, and in fact many are in that 12 to 15 range. And what that means is students are able to get to know each other throughout the quarter, exchange ideas, exchange perspectives, but also get to know the instructors and the faculty. And that's a really important part. Usually at the end of a 10-week quarter, the faculty are talking to me about, oh my gosh, this student came in with this project, wants me to help with a consulting project. So those relationships are a big part of our art structure and delivery. I would also add that we do offer students who live in the Denver area and are willing and interested in coming to campus the opportunity to take all of their electives on campus. And so those students have the opportunity to, of course, meet different students from different programs, full-time MBAs, our evening professional MBA, Master of Science students. So they have those opportunities. And then we also have virtual case competitions, which have been very successful. I know our students are very busy, as everyone's students are, but we had a team of students last year in a case competition. They took third place among all the different Daniels teams. So that's another chance for students to network and grow outside the classroom.
Great, thanks. And Tracy, at UMass, what are some things you all are doing to foster these connections?
So we have both some formal networks and informal networks that we strongly encourage. So our students are automatically members of the Alumni Association and are able to join that LinkedIn group. We also have our MBA LinkedIn group, our Eisenberg LinkedIn group, and we really try to encourage our students to join those right away when they enter the program. We also organize virtual events. So this is something where I feel like the current climate we're in has been helpful in that regard, in that we've pushed a lot more events online. So we'll have alumni panels and sessions, recruiter panels and sessions. And so students get that opportunity to hear from alumni and recruiter and try to build relationships with those individuals. We also have some, courses where we help them learn how to do that networking and get some more one-on-one training if they're interested. And then the informal side of it really is within the courses. Because of the discussion aspect, right? The interaction that occurs in these courses, that's a fundamental part of online learning. Our students really get to know one another, and they can make great connections through their classes, in addition to those formal pathways, which we try to steer them toward upon entering the program. Great,
thanks. So we're at about 3 minutes left before we all need to let you all get the break before the breakout sessions. So this last question, I'll give you all the opportunity to answer it, but it'll be pretty quick. We'll start with Kevin. In 3 words, and then you can give a brief explanation if you want with these 3 words. What's the best way to describe the student experience at your school? So just 3 words or less. Best way to describe the student experience at your school. I'm stalling a little bit to give Kevin some time to think about it, so he's not totally on the spot. And then we'll go Kenny, Tracy, and Megan. So Kevin, how about William and Mary?
I would say connection, principled, and community. And I picked those 3 words because our students are coming from a wide variety of walks of life. And it's because of the online modality that they're able to have and attend a program here at the Raymond A. Mason School of Business and William and Mary specifically. And it's through all of the rich things that we're known for in our on-grounds programs that our students really enjoy about our online programs. And that is the fact that you have a tight-knit community, that there's this level of connectedness that people don't anticipate coming from an online program, and that you will be engaged and forced to really think outside of the box as you develop and enhance your business acumen and experiences.
Great, thanks. Kenny, how about at Denver? 3 words.
Yeah, I would say interactive, integrity-filled. I know that's technically 2 words. There's a
we'll hyphen it.
Hyphen it, yeah. And then applied. And the interactive part, I think I touched on. The integrity part is, as I mentioned earlier, we really, our institution is all about values-based leadership and ethics and corporate social responsibility and what that means in business and how can MBAs as leaders make an impact on their communities, on their neighborhoods, on society as a whole. And so we really try to reinforce that piece in our courses. We actually have a course early in the program called Leading with Integrity that's all about that part. And then the last piece is applied. Again, we want to make students indispensable to their organizations, so we strive to give them skills that they can apply in real time and make a difference in their organization.
Great, thanks. Tracy, 3 words.
Flexible, engaging, and relevant. So I think we've all talked today about the flexibility of our programs, but we do really, that's a focus area for us. Even if you look at our Poets&Quants write-up, its flexibility is a really big attribute that we instill and share with our students, and our advisors help to support that. Engaging in that, yes, students are in an online environment, but they're engaged within their classes. The faculty are very skilled at engaging and promoting interactive discussion so that students get to know the faculty and get to know the other students in their program. And then from a relevance perspective, we're constantly, changing our curriculum, changing as far as more electives and considering different focus areas, and listening to what our students and our industry partners tell us. So while we have our core MBA curriculum, we offer electives that are relevant, that are going to help our students move to that next level and reach the goals that they had in mind when they joined our program. So we think those 3 words are very representative of our program. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Megan.
I would say practical. As I mentioned earlier, the program being built by one of history's greatest CEOs gives us a unique point of view about what it really means to win in business. And so while we provide the best of theory, we're always providing tools that anybody can really use regardless of their level and their organization. I'd actually say surprising. I think it's, as much as we talk about it in the marketing and admissions experience, really understanding, our school, again, sort of, built outside of traditional academia, built the way that we felt a school should be built as a business school, while still being accredited and still, having super qualified faculty. But people really, it's very hard to really understand how student driven we really are and how serious we take the student experience and the feedback until you're a student. And then lastly, I'd say transformative. I'm constantly surprised when I, talk to even some of our seasoned professionals about their personal experience coming out of the program. Words like, the confidence, I think, not only in building your business skills, but also becoming a better communicator, understanding how to motivate people, really embracing that leadership mindset. People really, come for the education and are really transformed along the way. And I don't think that's something, most folks expect out of any academic experience.
Great, thanks so much, and thanks everyone for being here. Tracy, Megan, Kevin, Kenny, it's been great. I think it's been very helpful to people who will watch this. We're grateful for your time. We know that you're all busy, especially with admission seasons rolling right now. So thank you very much. And for all of the people watching, there is one more panel. The final panel will start in about an hour at 1 p.m. Pacific. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.